soon. Let's go through the heat results. There we go. Okay, so Detail and Luke won the first and the second heat race, respectively. Luke won the semi, and that's all you need to know for the warm-ups. Okay, I think we're good here. Make sure my mic's not muted. Yeah, we're good. All right, so we're about to start. Let's go through the starting order, though. So, on the inside gate is Luke, then to his right, Detail, Vulcan, and Opix. Whoops. On the left here, second gate, we got Camby, then Phil, Slaunch, and then Ricardo. On the left, Armada, then we got Elite, Blake, and Shift, and then holy cheese, who is that? Jared, making his racing debut. Not really, he's raced before, but making his return to Halo Racing. So let's go. We want to see, everybody wants to see Jared get this moto win. As you can see, just fresh off some coffee, probably ate a cheddar potato bake to get ready for this race. He's ready to go. Alright, so watch for the gate drop. Gonna drop anytime soon. And these gates are jumpable, just like the Supercross gates. You have a few people try to do it. One person gets punished for it. That's Slaunch there in the back, tried to jump too early and ends up getting punished for it. Excuse me. Luke and Detail, the heat winners, out to a pretty good start, running different lines. Detail actually opted for the berm line right there. Oh, we got a stoppage and a crash. Who are those people involved? That might be Opix and Slaunch. And let's get updated right here. So it's going to be Luke in the lead, Detail second, more carnage back there. Armada going for third possibly. So Armada with a really good start, considering his gate. Oh, I think that was Phil there trying to get a jump on Armada. More collisions back there. These guys are going at it. Phil opting for that left line, a line that you don't see many people run. Armada's going to try to jump into it. That was a little risky. And he's going to slide out of that line. And I think that's Camby already making some gains, trying to work his way into the top 5. So Camby doing a pretty good job so far. Didn't have a very good qualifying session. I don't think he had practiced the track previously, but he's getting acclimated to it pretty fast, honestly. Like he's really adapting very well. Remember, no jokers allowed. 2 different lines there. Ran out of Luke and Detail. Luke went for the jump line. Detail went for the chicane line. Detail's got to run in the downhill. It's side by side between the two. The inside is pretty strong in this final section. Detail's going to go out to the lead here at Mirabilis at the end of lap 1, which also, ooh, more split lines. Which also, that means that we are going to have Joker lane open this lap. So those two, it's Phil, Armada, and Camby still, and they got a pretty good gap. Vulcan 6th, and we got, I think that's Shift, and then there's just a huge pack right here, all going at it. And where is Slaunch? Must have gotten cheesed pretty hard. Don't even see him here in this pack. There he is in the back, so that's going to be a huge climb for him, trying to get some extra points here, going into nothing for him, actually, because this is his last round. This is his last race of the season with his starts, so never mind. Alright, so those guys are still duking it out. Let's get a little update. Wow, I'm glad I added that for camera movement. That was sick. And Detail's going to take the Joker. Luke's going to opt to stay out. Phil as well. So Detail is going to take an early Joker, and as you can see, that's just going to give him a huge gap. So he's looking, you can tell he's looking confident. If you're taking a Joker first lap when you're in the lead, that means you're really confident. Slaunch and Elite both going to take their Jokers. Elite's going to pull out right in front of Phil, so this could cause some issues for Phil. He's going to think about taking his Joker next lap, because he's going to get really far behind Luke here if he has to fight his way through Elite first. So I'm going to follow Phil here for this lap. I'm going to follow Phil for this lap and see what he decides to do. Going to follow Luke as well, because it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to gain time and then use a Joker on Detail, or if he's going to just use it right away. Phil doing a good job. If he can get by Elite without using his... Oh no, Elite crashes in front of him. That is so horrible. That is the last thing you want to see when somebody uses a Joker, gets in front of you, and you know that they use their Joker, and then they wreck in front of you. That is the last thing that you want. You want to be able to get by him fast. Will Phil be able to beat Slaunch on the exit of the sand section? He's going to race him really down low, trying to hold on to that line as hard as he possibly can. I mean, he knows he has the advantage here. And for Slaunch taking that early Joker, he wants to get by Phil here to try to gain as much time as possible. But Phil's going to opt out. He's taking his Joker. That was smart. Phil is going to take his Joker, and it looks like Luke did as well. So Luke and Phil, top 3 have all taken their Jokers. Oh, looks like we have some more Joker usages. I'm gonna go back so I can get an angle of that. Actually, I'm gonna go back so I can get an angle of the rest of those Joker usages, because I didn't expect that many people to take it. I've ranted in the past about people taking the Joker in the same lap because I think it's dumb. Yep, Camby, this whole pack, that was really stupid, especially for, I would say, Armada and Vulcan. Vulcan especially so. If Vulcan held out, it works out for Vulcan because Armada makes a huge mistake afterwards, but you can't account for that. I think that was a pretty dumb move of Vulcan to actually take the Joker that lap, and it honestly wasn't the greatest move out of Armada either. And I've said this in the past, in general, if you have like somebody right in front of you and they're taking their Joker, and you think you're faster, let them take the Joker, run some clean laps, run like 4 or 5 clean laps, and then come back and pass him when you take your Joker. It's really not that hard, but a lot of these drivers in Rallycross, I don't know, I mean, this is the 3rd Rallycross now that we've raced this season. We're going to have raced 4 once we're done with the grand final. I just don't know the rationale. We just haven't seen that much Joker strategy out of these drivers. We've seen a lot of instances where like a pack of 3 will all take the Joker right on each other, and that is the dumbest thing you can do. So hopefully that changes. At least up front with Phil, Luke, and Detail, we saw a little bit of variation. Phil did follow in the same lap that Luke did, but Phil's was a little bit more justifiable because he had 2 Joker users in front of him. So I actually think that was smart. Ooh, looks like Camby going to make a move on Vulcan here, trying to stay ahead of him for 4th. Vulcan currently in 5th. And you know he actually is in 5th because Armada took his Joker with him and is in 6th, which means that Elite is in 7th and Slaunch is in 8th. So Elite and Slaunch at the moment looks like they have made some gains with taking that Joker. Slaunch actually going for the jump line, losing a lot of time on the exit there, getting really loose. Elite going for the clean chicane run. Liking the different lines that we're seeing here. Who is this? Is this Blake? I think it is. Is Blake actually back here? Is he taking his Joker? Did he make a mistake? I've lost track. I'm gonna try to keep track because I think there are some drivers that are pretty far back that have not taken their Joker. In particular, I know for a fact Opix has not taken his Joker yet, and I think some of those other drivers as well also have not taken their Joker, and they could play a role. They could take some spots. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that Joker lane and see if we can catch him coming out. But look at this. Detail and Luke up there have just opened up a huge gap on Phil. So that 1st and 2nd gap is relatively close, but the 1st and 2nd to 3rd gap is huge. And then you got 4th and 5th, which Phil has a pretty good gap on them. 4th and 5th are pretty close between Camby and Vulcan. And then you got 6th, 7th, and 8th, which are all pretty close. But yeah, man, I'm roasting the Joker strategy out of some of these drivers. I'm glad that we have some people. I know there's a few drivers that have not taken their Joker yet, and I'm glad because I love when there's a driver that's like at the very end that hasn't taken their Joker yet. That's always my favorite. Because it just gets really boring when everybody uses their Joker on the same lap in like the first 2 laps, and we've seen that like both Rallycross races, including this one to an extent. We've seen that where just the majority of the field gets their Joker out of the way before we even hit the halfway point. Looks like something must have happened to Phil because Vulcan and Camby just got by him. Yeah, Phil's back to 5th now, trying to fight back for that spot with Camby. So he must have screwed up at some point when we were looking at other things. Oh, Vulcan messes up, though, and Camby has a nice run, but Phil gets an amazing run on the left side. That was probably one of the best left side exits I've seen. And now we have Armada battling with Slaunch, and Phil and Camby going at it, and Vulcan trying to work his way back up there. This just got pretty interesting, and Phil ends up getting his 3rd place back, that's crazy because Phil just lost it, just lost 2 positions, gets them back on the same lap. Any Joker usages? Because I know there's still people back here. I think Blake has already used his. I think, but Opix right here has not used his yet. So let's look at this gap. That's pretty workable. He might, if he uses his Joker, he might work his way like right in the middle there between Slaunch and Armada, maybe even by Vulcan. I don't know. Somewhere in this pack. If Opix uses his Joker, he'll work his way somewhere in this pack for sure. It's just a question of like how many people is he gonna pass. Still a pretty solid lead for Detail, and this is just a blowout so far. I mean, look at this. First and second. Third place just now coming out of the cave. So like as first and second, we're on top of the cave right there. Third just came out of the cave, so that is a huge gap. Not looking good for the rest of the field. In fact, and I think Armada just lost that position to Slaunch there. I think that was 6th. Might have been 5th actually. Nope, that was 6th. Let's check the time. Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end here. I believe we got about 2 minutes left. So, oh, what was that? Phil just went down taking the jump line, and he recovers and holds on to third anyways. We could have had some huge drama right there, but he messes up really hard, ends up holding onto the spot. Oh, two-way battle? Who is this? You know what? Now that I think about it, Ricardo's right there. I think he hasn't used his Joker yet either. So I think there's 2 people that still need to use it. Ricardo and Opix, which are both pretty far back. So I'm going to keep an eye out on the back of the pack here. Because when I just checked the time, you have to use the Joker before it is 1 lap to go. And we're getting pretty close here to 3 laps to go. So I know they're going to be thinking about using it. Also, this battle for third is heating up. Camby is now all over Phil, with Phil making a few mistakes. Vulcan's still holding on the top 5. Elite has kind of fallen from grace here. You can see he's fell back. He was pretty far up there. He had a few more positions, but I think he's lost like 2 or 3 since we last checked in. And let's follow Opix, because he is the biggest wild card. I think he might pull out right in front of that pack of 4, or right in the middle of them somewhere. Not taking it yet. Ooh, that's ballsy. 25-37, okay. Let's see where the leaders are at. Was that them? I think it was. Wow, they just took the line. Okay, so we just hit 3 to go. 3 laps to go in this race, which means that Ricardo and Opix both are going to have to use their Jokers pretty soon. And this pack of 4 right here, which has been a pretty good battle all race, is starting to boil down to the final laps. And I think we're going to see a few position changes here. Let's go in the cave. Haven't been showing the cave off too much. Ooh, Camby with the move. It's all going to be about if Phil can defend it, because Camby definitely had the faster line there, and I think he's been faster these last couple of laps, especially with Phil making mistakes, and that's going to help Vulcan out as well. He's here too. And all this battling is going to cause those back couple drivers to catch up as well. So yeah, we might see the top 5 have a huge shakeup before the race is over. Vulcan now, and Camby was just fighting at Phil like 20 seconds ago. Now Vulcan's fighting at Camby because of all that battling, and Camby kind of got the short end of the stick. It's a nice frickin' pig right there. Jeez. Keep an eye on the Joker. No usage right there. Was that Opix? I think that was Ricardo. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Opix is using his Joker. Oh, no. Oh, the only potential move right there for Opix was on Slaunch, and Opix ends up getting Goomba'd. Oh, man, that is unfortunate. By the way, the leaders hit 2 to go about like 30 seconds ago, so Detail and Luke, the top 2 drivers, are only have 2 laps remaining. These guys also have 2 laps remaining now. But I'm just saying the lead pack is, I mean, look at that. That's the leaders right there. First place, second place. There's third place. There's third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And Opix can still make gains. So Vulcan must have made a mistake right there. Slaunch got by him. Now Opix potentially getting by him. This still could work out for him. Okay, so it looks like he's going to take the spot on Vulcan. Pretty good. A few more positions for him to gain, however. It is a pretty nice track. Not sure yet. Not sure yet, Josh. Oh, by the way, I think, yep, Ricardo and Opix both use their Jokers, so that's why Roman is here, indicating that the Joker lane is now closed. Everybody has used their Jokers. So here's where Ricardo came out. Ricardo came out battling with Elite, so that battle will probably continue. Oh, no! And that is the risk of the jump line. Let's take a replay of that. Alright, so as you can see, by the way, the leader's probably like just hit white flag right now. So Phil trying to hold on to this. Camby trying to hold on to fourth place. Slaunch decides to risk it. He takes the jump line really hard and ends up making slight contact on Camby coming down, and that's going to flip him off the side. He loses a spot to Opix and Vulcan. So he loses 2 spots there with that mistake, gunning for that position. So definitely a questionable move there late race. Vulcan trying to go for the rumble dive completely screws it up. But we are on the white flag right now. We're going to get an update. Here we go. Detail with the late race mistake. Still a pretty good gap, though. Still a pretty good gap on seconds. So probably not going to see a battle here unless Detail makes another huge mistake. Because that one definitely lost him a lot of time. But look at this. He makes a mistake like that. Loses a ton of time. Look at this gap. It's still freaking huge. I might have to time this gap at the end. See how long it is. Because it's actually ridiculous. A little bit of alternate lines coming out of here. Gonna come to the finish. And Detail is going to take his second moto win in a row of the season here at Mirabilis. Luke takes second close behind, and I think that was at about 19 seconds. So I'm going to time this. It was roughly 20 or 19 seconds on my clock, so I'm going to see how big of a gap they had. The gap on Luke for Detail is probably like 1 to 2 seconds, mainly because of that late race mistake. He was running really fast. But the gap that they both have, wow, roughly like a 20 to 23 second gap. That's insane. Like a 23 to 25 second gap for the top 2 drivers. That's unheard of. We haven't had a gap like that in a long time. Maybe it's Salt Lake. Maybe. But even then, that's freaking crazy. So, get the lineup right there. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Oh, I think there might be a few drivers still coming across. Alright, so there's the end of the first moto results. Detail takes the moto win, Luke second, Phil third, Camby fourth, Opix fifth, Slaunch sixth, Vulcan seventh, and Elite eighth, Ricardo ninth, Blake 10th, Jared 11th, Armada 12th, and Shift with the 13th. Armada actually got stuck during that race, but I don't have a timestamp, so maybe I'll review that afterwards because I do want to see how he got stuck, but that'll be something we look at afterwards. But anyways, I mean, that first race for the top 2 riders, it pretty much went how the qualifying times indicated it would go. Top 2 riders were just really far ahead. And but third through like 6th, 7th or so was pretty good, and then like 8th through 10th was pretty good. So there were some pretty good battles throughout the pack, especially for that 3rd through 6th. So I think next moto will be the same. I think next moto we'll see some really good battles all throughout. The interesting part is, you know, as per usual, we're gonna put those top drivers to the back of the pack. So that's what's gonna get really interesting. Gonna see how they fare. I gotta make sure I get the record going so I didn't miss out on that.